everyone, today I wanted to show you how I got this kind of romantic date night glam look. Today I'll be using the Urban Decay Naked3 palette. It's one of my favorite palettes. All the colors are just very pretty and rosy and coppery and just overall romantic, so stay tuned and I'll show you how I got the look. So I've already primed my face with moisturizer. I use the Clinique Dramatically Different Moisturizing Lotion. It's what I use day to day, so we can get started on priming a little more specific areas of my face. I'm going to use the NYX pore filler to minimize my pores. I'm going to put a little bit on my finger, but it comes out a little clumpy, so be careful. Kind of guard it with your finger. Get a little bit on there, and then put it on any areas where you feel like your pores need minimizing. I feel like my pores are a little bit larger around my cheeks, and so I'm just going to put some here to make sure that the makeup doesn't collect inside of my pores, but on top of my pores. Personally, I like to mix my primer with my foundation. It kind of gives it a different texture and goes on your face differently. Today, I'm going to use the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer. I'm going to take just a little bit. I'm going to put maybe a pea-size amount on the back of my hand. And then for foundation, I'm going to be using the Laura Mercier Silk Cream Foundation in color Beige Ivory. I always like to shake it up a little bit first because it separates, and I'm going to put a pea-size amount of that one as well on the back of my hand. Just that much. I'm going to take my finger and mix it, and you can see that the texture of it changes immediately. It gives it a little more of a matte finish. I'm going to apply it with a beauty blender, which I've already wet under the sink. You want to make sure and saturate it really well so it gets really big, and then I take a little bit of moisture out with a towel so my foundation isn't going on wet. I'm just going to take this excess and put it on the back of it, which is why it looks so dirty. Don't worry, it's not disgusting. It's just a little bit stained. And I'm going to just gently sponge it onto my skin, kind of just stipple it on there. Now I'm going to put on some concealer. Today I'm going to be using the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer in shade NW20. I like this concealer a lot. The only problem is that it comes out really quickly, and a lot comes out even with a tiny push. See? A lot came out. So what I'm going to do is I put it on my left finger, I'm right-handed. I'm going to put it under my eye here. I'm going to take it up to my temple. I'm going to take a little more and bring it down here along the side of my nose and then up on the top part of my cheekbone. And then I'm going to take my beauty blender and I'm going to blend it in. Since there's going to be a lot extra, I'm going to do it on the other side now, and then I'm going to do another layer on each side. So now I still have a little bit left. I'm going to take some and put it down the bridge of my nose for a bit of a highlight. And I'm going to take my beauty blender and blend it in. And with the rest of it, I'm going to create this little triangle deal here to highlight my forehead area and blend that in. I'm going to skip a step here, or skip forward a little bit, because I want to go ahead and set my concealer before I work on anything else above it. I'm going to use this Dome Brush by Real Techniques, and I'm going to delve into my Hourglass Ambient Lighting palette in the color Radiant Light. That's the least shimmery of the bunch. I'm going to take a little bit, and I'm just going to set it under my eyes. And then we'll come back to more highlighting later. So now I'm going to prime my eyelids. I'm going to use my favorite primer, the MAC Painterly Paint Pot. Works as a primer and a lid color when you need it to. Today I'm just going to be using it as a primer. So I'm going to put some on my finger, and I'm going to put it all over my eyelid and then up to my brow bone. Now it's my favorite part, eyebrows. First, I'm going to fill them in with a tinted brow gel. I like using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Tinted Brow Gel. This color is in chocolate. You just treat it like mascara for eyebrows, and I like to start in the middle just in case things get a little crazy. And you're going to gently brush up and then just follow the shape of your brows. I'm going for a little bit more of a dramatic effect. I'm going to go ahead and go back in with a little brow brush and some powder and even everything out and make sure everything is filled. I have this Urban Decay Brow Box in Honey Pot. I'm just going to use the little brush that came with it and use this darker color here to fill in my brows. Before we get started on the eyeshadow, I'm going to make sure everything on my face is set. I'm going to take my Sonia Kashuk powder brush. I'm going to use the MAC Studio Fix Powder Foundation in NW22. I'm going to swirl it in there and buff everything out. Now it's time to get started on eyeshadow. So today we're going to use the Naked3 palette by Urban Decay. I love all the Naked palettes. I've worn some colors down more than others, but today we're going to use this palette. So first I am going to take my Sephora All Over Shadow Brush, and we're going to use this color Nooner, and I'm going to put it all over my eyelid. On top of Nooner, I'm going to take this color right here, Liar. It's kind of a almost brownish, pinkish, coppery, shimmery tone, and just pat it on top of Nooner. Now I'm going to take my favorite e.l.f. eyeshadow brush, and we're going to use this brown color here, Factory, to put in our crease. Next, I'm going to take this Sonia Kashuk flat dome eyeshadow brush to blend. Make sure everything is blended. You don't want any harsh lines. You don't want anybody to see that you had different colors on different parts of your eyelid. And I'm actually going to use the brush that came with the palette, which I don't normally do. It's a little stiff for my liking, but I'm going to use that to take this color here, Mugshot, and I'm going to put it in V shape on the corner of my eyelid. And then also back into my crease a little bit. I'm going to go back in and blend. Next, we're going to blend in this area with this pretty purple color here, Limit. And for a brow bone, I'm going to use the really pretty, creamy, light highlight color, Strange. I'm going to go back in with the e.l.f. shadow brush, and we're going to add a little bit of drama. We're going to use the dark color with the pretty purpley flecks in it, Black Heart, and we're just going to make our V area a little bit more dramatic, and then we're going to take it down here a little bit too. And then lastly for the eyeshadow, I'm going to use the other end of the brush that came with the palette to take Strange and lighten up your inner corner of your eye. Before we get started on eyeliner, I just want you to make sure that you go in with your blending brush and blend everything. You want everything to flow and be smoky and not harsh and separated. Now we're going to do some eyeliner. I like to use the Stila Stay All Day liquid liner. It's waterproof. It really does stay all day. And so what I'm going to do first I'm going to do a little bit of a wing liner, but nothing too crazy. Make sure and shake it up because it's like a felt tip pen. And so I know you're not supposed to pull on your eyelids. I know, I'm just very guilty of it. I'm sorry. It's what I got to do. So I'm going to first take it along my lash line. Just gently. Try to get it as thin as you can to begin with. You can always build it up. But if you go too far, there's not really much turning back. So you're just going to want to go along. Try to keep it as straight as possible. Go with the curve of your eyelid. You can do it a little bit thicker over on that side. And I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to go directly into the line. I'm going to start right in between here where your eyelids meet, that little corner there. And I'm going to draw a little flick up. And then from the line or next to it that we already made, I'm going to drag it out to match the top of that flick. And so you just drew your own wing. Now I'm going to take the eyeliner. Sorry, I think mine is running out a little bit. I go through these pretty quickly. And fill in that space. So now you have a little bit of wing liner, nothing too crazy, and nothing that's going to be too hard to mess up. So if you see any imperfections, like I said, mine's running out. I'm going to have to go back over it a little bit. Fill those in, and then do the other side. I had a little trouble doing mine today because my pen is running out, so they're not exactly even. I think this side is a little pointier than this side, so e.l.f. makes this makeup remover pen, which is a godsend. The first time I used it, I made the mistake of thinking it was going to just take all the eye makeup off my whole eye. Don't do that because it'll turn black immediately. The thing still works, you just got to use it for little jobs. So I'm just going to go back in and correct it and make sure that the liner matches. I'm going to take a stick liner. I'm going to use the Cynthia Rowley Beauty liner. I have very blonde, short lashes that stick straight out. And so in order for me not to have a gap in between my eyelashes and my eyeliner, I need to go in between my lashes with the liner to make sure everything's nice and dark. Now I'm going to apply some mascara. I'm going to only use this mascara for my top lashes because they're so short. It's a little bit too big for me, the brushes. It's a Smashbox Full Exposure Mascara. It has a pretty large wand. So for the top lashes, it's great. But if you have very short bottom lashes, it's not so great. And then for the bottom lashes, I'm going to use, it's hard to tell because it's faded away, the Rimmel Lash Accelerator Mascara because it's a much smaller wand. And I like to think that the lash complex they have in here does actually help my lashes grow. I don't know if it does. It's a nice thought for me to have. And so I'm going to curl my lashes and then I'm going to apply the mascaras. For a little bit of extra drama, I'm just going to take the Cynthia Rowley eyeliner and put it in my lower waterline. I'm not going to go crazy with the contouring today, just do some light contouring. I'm going to use this round dome kind of flat brush. It's very dense from Real Techniques. I'm going to use Benefit Hoola bronzer, and I'm going to swirl it in there a little bit and find the spot underneath your cheekbone. That's where you're going to want to put it. You're not necessarily going to want to put it all in here. You're going to want to put it under the cheekbone. You're trying to create a shadow under your cheekbone or the illusion of one. And so I'm going to make the all-important fish face and do some contouring. And then I'm also going to take some, put it on my jawline, under my chin, put a little bit on my forehead over here and over there, and then a little bit down the sides of my nose. Now I'm going to put on some blush. I'm going to use the Sonia Kashuk Travel Blush Brush, and NARS Signature Famous Cheek Color in Orgasm. And what I like to do with this brush, I like to be able to control how densely the brush feels and how it goes onto my face. And so I take it about 1/4 of the way up, maybe 1/3 of the way up, and then swirl it around in the blush and make the fish face and put it along my cheekbone. And then what I do at the end is I take it down all the way, then I use it to blend in the blush. So I cannot say the word blush. Blend in the blush so it's not just a line of pink on top of a line of bronze. Now I'm going to go back in with the Hourglass Ambient Lighting palette, back with that kind of shorter, thinner dome Real Techniques brush. I'm going to go back into the one that was not as shimmery, the Radiant Light. I'm going to go back over this area here on top of my cheekbone, take it up to my temple like I did with the concealer, do it on the other side, and then I'm going to just take a tiny bit of the bronzy one, the dim light. I'm not going to use as much of it as I did the blush, and so I'm going to just take a little dab and then go along my mid cheekbone just to kind of give it some pretty light. And then I'm going to take the shimmery one in the middle, Incandescent Light, which is the nice pretty highlighter color. I'm going to dip it and then drag it along the top of my cheekbone. You can see the shimmer just coming on. It's not overpowering, it's just really pretty highlight. And I'm going to take it and put it down the bridge of my nose, on top of my lip, on my chin, and I'm actually going to go back into Radiant Light, the less shimmery one, and put it up here above my eyebrows, and then a little bit where I put bronzer up here. Lastly, I'm going to put on some pretty matte lipstick in more of a neutral color since we went a little bit dramatic on the eyes. And this is the NYX Matte Lipstick in Natural, which seems appropriate, so I'm just going to apply that. So now I'm going to just throw some curls in my hair and style it a little bit, and that'll complete our look. Thanks so much for watching. See y'all next time.